In a world drowning in distractions, temptations, and the relentless pursuit of pleasure, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers a beacon of wisdom. But there is a dark truth that is often overlooked, a truth that lies beneath the surface of the teachings passed down from the likes of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. The truth is this: most of what is spoken about Stoicism today is rooted in the past, focused on the ancient world, a world far removed from our own. Few dare to reveal how to truly apply this wisdom in a modern age filled with noise, indulgence, and the constant pull away from what is truly important. Let me tell you a story of a seeker who pursued the truth, immersing himself in the teachings of Stoicism, only to find that the path was not what he expected. In the heart of a bustling city, where the lights never dim and the noise never fades, there lived a man who, like many of us, was driven by ambition. Surrounded by people, friends, colleagues, and acquaintances, each pulling him in different directions, he felt an emptiness, a void that no amount of success or pleasure could fill. One day, in his search for meaning, he stumbled upon the teachings of Stoicism. The words of Marcus Aurelius resonated deeply. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Captivated, he devoured the ancient texts, absorbing the wisdom of the Stoics, and began applying their teachings to his life. He practiced self-control, sought to master his emotions, and learned to remain unmoved by the chaos around him. As he delved deeper into Stoicism, he began to distance himself from the world. The more he practiced, the more he realized how superficial his relationships were. The friends who once surrounded him began to fade away, one by one, as his commitment to Stoic principles grew. They could not understand his newfound detachment, his rejection of the pleasures they so eagerly pursued. And so, he found himself alone. But even in solitude, he was not free. He was still a prisoner this time, not of people, but of his own mind. The distractions that once came from without were now within. He was plagued by thoughts, desires, and fears that he could not silence no matter how much he tried to apply Stoic wisdom. He realized that the world around him and even his own mind had been a constant distraction from something deeper. It was one morning, in the stillness of dawn, that clarity finally came. He awoke with a profound understanding that all the distractions, all the temptations, were nothing but illusions, illusions that had kept him away from the truth, away from God. The Stoic practice, though noble, had only taken him so far. It had helped him master the external but not the internal. It had guided him in resisting the world's temptations, but it had not led him to the ultimate truth, that life is a test of faith, of resilience, of closeness to the divine. He understood that what he had been missing all along was not just self-control, but faith. True Stoicism, he realized, is not just about mastering the mind or resisting the world's temptations. It is about recognizing that we are part of something greater, that we are here not just to exist, but to draw closer to God. When he embraced this truth, everything became clear. The distractions lost their power, the temptations faded into nothingness, and for the first time, he felt a profound peace, an unshakable peace that came from within, from a soul that had found its way back to the source. This journey is a reminder to us all. In today's world, filled with endless distractions and temptations, it is easy to lose our way. We are bombarded by the allure of instant gratification, the lure of dopamine-driven pleasures that leave us empty and craving more. But true Stoicism teaches us to resist these illusions, not just through the strength of our minds, but through the strength of our faith. To be a true Stoic in the modern world, we must first eliminate the distractions that pull us away from what is truly important. This means consciously choosing to disconnect from the noise, limiting our exposure to social media, the constant stream of news, and the superficial connections that drain our energy. We must create space for silence, for reflection, and for prayer. Second, we must recognize the source of true strength. It is not enough to resist temptations with sheer willpower. We must draw closer to God, for it is in this closeness that we find protection and guidance. As the seeker discovered, faith is the foundation of true Stoicism. It is what anchors us, what gives us the resilience to withstand the trials of life. Finally, we must learn to see the world for what it truly is, a test. Every challenge, every temptation is an opportunity to grow, to strengthen our faith, and to draw closer to the divine. When we understand this, we are no longer blinded by the illusions of the world. We see clearly, and in this clarity we find peace. So, let us walk the path of true Stoicism, not as isolated individuals, but as souls connected to something greater. Let us resist the distractions and temptations of this world, not through our own strength alone, but through the strength that comes from God. And in doing so, let us find the peace that passes all understanding, the peace that comes from knowing that we are on the path of truth. As the seeker continued on his path, having recognized the illusions that had clouded his mind, he found himself drawn ever closer to a deeper understanding of life. He realized that the journey he was on was not merely a personal one, but a universal struggle shared by all who seek truth in a world filled with distractions. This realization brought with it a sense of connection, a reminder that the trials and tribulations he faced were not his alone but part of the human condition. Despite the clarity he had gained, the seeker knew that the path ahead would not be easy. Temptations and distractions would continue to assail him, and the struggle to maintain his newfound peace would be constant. But this time, he was prepared, not just with the teachings of the Stoics, but with a deeper faith that anchored his soul. He found solace in the words of Epictetus, who once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The seeker understood that true freedom lay not in external circumstances, but in the mastery of one's own mind and desires. With this knowledge, he set out to strengthen his willpower and discipline, recognizing that every moment of weakness was an opportunity to fortify his resolve. To help guide him, the seeker turned to the wisdom of Seneca, who advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." He realized that the company he kept played a crucial role in shaping his thoughts and actions. By surrounding himself with those who shared his values and goals, he could reinforce his commitment to living a life of virtue and faith. As the seeker continued his journey, he began to embrace solitude, not as a burden, but as a gift. He found that in the quiet moments of reflection, free from the distractions of the world, he could connect more deeply with himself and with the divine. It was in these moments of solitude that he discovered the true power of Stoicism, not just as a philosophy, but as a way of life that guided him toward inner peace and resilience. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." The seeker took these words to heart, learning to find strength in stillness and to draw upon the wisdom that lay within. In doing so, he became more attuned to the subtle truths of life, recognizing that the answers he sought were not to be found in the external world, but within himself. As the seeker deepened his understanding of Stoicism, he also became more aware of the subtle temptations that pervaded his life. These were not just the obvious distractions of wealth, pleasure, and fame, but the more insidious temptations of pride, ego, and self-righteousness. He realized that even the pursuit of virtue could become a trap if it led to arrogance or a sense of superiority over others. Drawing on the wisdom of the Stoics, the seeker learned to guard against these temptations by cultivating humility and gratitude. He remembered the words of Seneca, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." By focusing on what he already had, both materially and spiritually, he was able to resist the constant pull of desire and maintain a sense of contentment. The seeker also found inspiration in the teachings of Epictetus, who warned, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." He understood that true growth often required a willingness to appear foolish in the eyes of others, to reject the norms and expectations of society in favor of a higher truth. This was not an easy path, but it was one that led to a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. As the seeker continued on his journey, he began to embody the qualities of a true Stoic, not just in his actions, but in his very being. He became more patient, more compassionate, and more resilient, able to face the challenges of life with a calm and steady mind. He realized that the ultimate goal of Stoicism was not just to endure but to thrive, to find joy and meaning in every moment no matter how difficult. But the seeker also knew that this was not the end of the journey. The path of the Stoic was a lifelong pursuit, a continuous process of self-improvement and growth. He understood that true wisdom came not from the accumulation of knowledge, but from the application of that knowledge in everyday life. And so, he committed himself to the daily practice of Stoic principles, knowing that each day brought new opportunities to learn, grow, and become a better person. As the seeker delved deeper into his practice, he discovered a hidden key to true Stoicism, one that is rarely discussed in modern interpretations of the philosophy. This key was not found in the ancient texts or in the teachings of the Stoic masters, but in the simple act of surrender. The seeker realized that in order to truly live a Stoic life, he had to let go of his need for control, to surrender his will to something greater than himself. This surrender was not an act of weakness but of strength. It required a deep trust in the divine, a recognition that while he could control his own actions and responses, there were forces beyond his control that guided the course of his life. By surrendering to these forces, the seeker found a sense of peace and freedom that he had never known before. He recalled the words of Marcus Aurelius, "Accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This was the essence of true Stoicism: to live with acceptance, to love without attachment, and to trust in the wisdom of the universe. In the end, the seeker's journey led him to a profound revelation, that the true purpose of Stoicism was not just to navigate the challenges of life, but to prepare the soul for its ultimate destiny. He understood that life was a test, a series of trials designed to shape and refine the soul, to draw it closer to the divine. And so the seeker embraced his journey with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. He knew that the path ahead would be difficult, that there would be moments of doubt and struggle, but he also knew that he was not alone. He was guided by the wisdom of the Stoics, by the strength of his faith, and by the presence of the divine. As he walked this path, he found a sense of peace and fulfillment that had eluded him for so long. He understood that true happiness was not found in the pursuit of pleasure or success, but in the simple act of living in accordance with his values, in alignment with the divine will. If you've made it this far, I commend you for your dedication to seeking truth and wisdom. The journey of the Stoic is not an easy one, but it is a path that leads to true peace and fulfillment. Remember, the key to overcoming distractions and temptations lies in your connection to the divine and in the daily practice of Stoic principles. Now, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the dark truth of Stoicism? How do you apply these principles in your own life? Leave a comment below and let's continue this journey together. If you found this video valuable, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more wisdom in the future. Together, we can navigate the challenges of life and find the peace we seek.